Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine, the Resilient Mother with the Mothers Shape the Future Resilience Summit. I have another wonderful speaker from you from around the world. I keep finding these people. This is Vanessa Mary. She is a lifestyle coach for mothers. The stage is yours. Please tell us about you and what you do.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here, Tiffany. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here. Yes, my name is Vanessa Mary. I'm a lifestyle coach for mums. I'm based in England, so we have a very different accent from each other. But I know you've got an international audience, so hopefully I'll be heard. So yeah, I'm supporting women to step into a positive pathway. Now, the main bulk of my work is really about supporting the woman to look after her mental well-being, and this takes place by supporting you with your nutrition, self-love, and also well-being practices.
That's amazing. And that's such a perfect fit for what we're doing with resilience because we're doing the resilient body, resilient lifestyle, and resilient relationships with the idea that you do have to start with the mindset first and then the
Yes,
body. Then you implement those habits into a lifestyle, and then that helps your relationships be resilient. And it also sets an example for the kids who are our future and supports the family. So you're a beautiful fit in addition to this.
thank
How would
you.
you define resilience?
Very interesting question. So, resilience, I suppose we all go through different stress in our lives. There's different pressures from life, but I defined resilience of the way how you bounce back from these different situations. And we all have different ways of doing that. So I wouldn't say there's one size that fits all, but it is definitely how you come back from whatever situation you've been faced with.
Exactly. And if we take the opportunity, I feel like we can bounce back stronger than we ever did before, as long as we apply the lessons that were there and they're part of the journey. And there's no shame in what we experience if we learn from it and we apply it and then we go serve others with it. And that's something that we're all doing. Do you have an example of a resilient story in your own life or from the clients that you work with?
Well, I've chosen the story based on my mum's journey, and my mum has actually been a client of mine. So, she was my first customer. Your mum's always your first customer. So, yeah, my mum's story and a little bit of mine. My mum's story is about her experience of mental illness, which actually it showed up in her pregnancy. And when she gave birth to me, then sadly, her mental illness symptoms really came through stronger. So she's had this life of being in and out of psychiatric care.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I would say that my mum is a great example of resilience because within her story, there is a woman who's always giving. She's always got time for others. She's always compassionate. She always, like I said, makes time for other people. There was a time in my mum's life when she would remember someone's birthday and she would send birthday cards out. Um, so yeah, she's a beautiful soul. She's got a very big heart. Um, and yeah, for her, she's sacrificed a lot as a mother. She hasn't had that motherhood experience that many women have had because of her mental health condition. But I would say she's just so caring. That for me is a sign of her bouncing back. So that's the first part of the story.
That's beautiful that the depth of empathy I think people have that have been through struggles is a beautiful blessing from the struggle, and part of being resilient, I think, is recognizing that we all have our struggles. We all have something that we're facing. And something personally that I feel about mental illness is it's not often seen in the light it should be. If you had a broken arm, you'd go get a cast. If you're mentally ill, there's still work that has to be done. And you're not broken, you're not limited. You simply need more tools in place, like a cast, to fix those patterns and the shock or trauma or whatever it is that has caused that. and then get yourself back in alignment. Now, that's different for everybody. Everyone's unique, but there are resources and tools out there. And it sounds like your mother's doing much better now. Yes?
Yeah, I mean, her condition is quite severe. So she's bipolar.
Mm.
So it means that she will have highs and lows. But I feel that as she's becoming older, the acceptance of her mental health is something that, she recognizes the symptoms, put it that way, and she's a lot more able to reach out and ask for support, even though that is difficult when someone's going through an episode. Sometimes they don't recognize how ill they can be, but we're getting there with my mum.
And that's wonderful. And that's that accountability part of going inside and just recognizing our responsibility and what we're facing and what we do about it. And it's wonderful she has you for support. And I think that's so important that.
Oh, thank you. Well, like I said, she was my first customer. So in terms of nutrition coaching, which is where I started, it was one of those where I was like, Mom, will you help me out? And she was very, very willing, and she's always been such a keen supporter. In fact, today we've had a conversation where I was telling her about my next move. I told her I'd be coming on to your summit as well. So she's just wonderful.
Oh, that's so beautiful. There's a resilient relationship. There
Oh,
you
yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that bond that you two have is so special. And you.
It is special, but because of my mum's mental health, my resilient story is I grew up without my mum. I was in the care system. I grew up without my dad. So I didn't actually have that emotional connection with my parents. So my mum came back into my life when I became a mother for the second time. Unfortunately, her mental health had broken down again, and she needed someone to really give her that respite. And I was more than willing to say, come and stay with me, which at the time people kind of said, oh, are you sure you want to do that with your mum's health? And I was like, no, it's not a problem. And I was always yearning to have that opportunity to have that connection with my mum. So with her coming into my life when my second child was born, it was just such a magical experience.
And we all want that. We all want that connection to our biological parents. I'm finding in my own experience as a birth mom, I have a daughter whose father isn't around anymore biologically, and that's left a big hole in her life that is really hard to fill. And she has a wonderful adoptive father who's wonderful to her and great. But there's this sorting out their identity when, even if you've had great, great parents in your life, it's part of who you are. You want to know where you came from and that generational connection to those that have been there before you and what your genetic makeup is. And it's wonderful that you guys have been able to overcome that and to build this beautiful, now three generations are affected by that.
3 generations, 4 generations, actually, because I'm a grandmother now. So my mum's got a lovely relationship with my offspring, which I love to hear about when she tells me their little stories.
Oh, I love it. I hope people are inspired by this and realize that the opportunities are there. It's just a matter of having the right tools in place and giving room and space for love to conquer all in a lot of ways from what you're saying. And it sounds like that's implemented in your coaching and what you do. Can you talk more about that and your clients and where you've gone from helping your mom to helping others?
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel that I was my first client, so I suppose my mum was my second client because I had a lot of work to do on myself, on my own healing journey. My coaching journey started off by offering nutritional support and I would say accountability to women who were really wanting to realign with a balanced diet, making sure that they were getting everything that their body needs. So that was a really good starting point for me. But now I have moved on and I specialize in heart-centered coaching, which is, we call it emotional fitness. And it's a beautiful offering, a beautiful part of my offering now, which I do find for a woman who's maybe had a lot of challenges in the past around her relationship with food, then for me to offer this emotional fitness element, it's something that we can apply the healing to maybe unblocked emotions that haven't been resolved and haven't been released. And then we can go back to what I'd say my traditional side of the coaching.
I think that's beautiful. That was a huge breakthrough for me in my life, is when I recognized that my emotions are kind of just a genetic biological reaction, but the feelings are the meaning I put on those emotions. And when I could separate myself from those emotions, it was no longer I feel bad, therefore I am bad. I could separate that. It was just something I could actually control, whether I have those highs and lows. And a lot of the medication that people tried to put me on were supposed to kind of numb those a bit, but then they would completely flatline me or make me really sleepy. And then I didn't feel alive anymore. I wanted to experience those emotions. And now I'm learning how to make that more of a superpower of being able to hold people's negative emotions and help them heal, or just enjoy the highs when they're there. And you still have to find balance, of course, with all of these things, as I'm sure you experience with your clients. But just understanding emotions are something that are outside of you and that you do have some control over. Once they hit you anyway, what you're going to do with them from there is up to you, and you do have that power. Can you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been wonderful actually. I've got a session called Giving Gratitude and Love where I actually go through the 8 basic emotions and then talk about all the sub emotions that are sitting behind. And, you know, with the emotional fitness coaching, it's about empowering a woman to really feel the emotions that are coming through to her. We use meditation. So I'm holding the energetic space, but actually allowing the woman to connect to her heart chakra and take any of these experiences to the heart, take the questions to the heart. And what we find is that as long as she is willing to go as deep, and we call it surrender, go deep into the meditation, she will get the answers that she's searching for. So there's different examples that come through from the clients that I've been working with. But the most powerful thing is to hear the stories afterwards. And even with myself, you know, I'd been coaching before I found or discovered the heart-centered coaching methodology, and I didn't realize how stuck I was. So my own story is going back 11 years when actually I was very sad. That I've now discovered that the emotion was sadness. And it had affected my self-esteem. It had affected my self-confidence. And it was actually stealing my dreams. So I wasn't stepping into my power. I knew that I wanted to do great things with my life, but there was something holding me back. So the emotional fitness has helped me to recognize and actually become more aware of those emotions. I'm not fighting the emotions. I've actually now released those emotions. And when things come up, which they do because life happens to us, I can actually tune into that emotion, sit with it, actually give thanks that it's presented itself, and take time to ask my heart, what can I learn? What is it that you're trying to tell me by this emotion coming through again? And
And
it's
that's
a wonderful process.
intuition. What you're saying is you got to be intuitive, and then you got to kind of accept what's there as well. And you took that responsibility to recognize it. You're like, I know something's off here. And then you could finally, once you could place what it was, you could do something about it. I think there's so much power in that.
Well, that's fantastic because, you know, what we find is the heart-centered coaching is allowing, I work with women, but obviously this is a modality for men and women. It's going to allow the client to take responsibility for the problems and not actually blame other people for how you are feeling. Okay. So it's about
Yeah.
self-awareness, self-responsibility, gaining clarity, gaining insight, and ultimately it is so empowering. It's so empowering.
Mm-hmm. When you're able to step into your own power, and I'm starting to be around people who have really done that like you, I can just feel how it's contagious. And then it gives me permission to step into my own power. And I think we need a lot more of that in the world. Of let's see each other's potential. Let's raise each other up. Let's collaborate and let's get there together. And I love that what you're doing is you took your experience and then you took it and found a way to serve with it. And isn't that a beautiful thing? I think real resilience is bringing everybody up in resilience, or bringing everybody up from the experiences that you have. And then we'll have a more resilient world, and that'll have such a great and positive impact. And I love what you've shared on that. And the power of words too. It sounds like you had to really go into not only the emotions, but the words that go along with that you were saying, like the story you were talking about. The story has to change sometimes along the way to heal. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, definitely. I mean, that's definitely part of what I coach on, about self-talk and self-image, and how we are having that relationship with ourselves. It's so important that the way how you talk about yourself, the way how you talk to yourself, has to be in a positive standpoint. And emotions are energy in motion. So we have to recognize that, our the way how we feel is going to change depending on the circumstances, but we can definitely change how we feel on a day-to-day basis just by moving our body. I wasn't feeling that energetic this morning. I think I told you on Monday that my little one has been getting me up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and this today I definitely felt it. But one of the things that I've done is I've moved my body, because I don't want that energy of sorry, but I've got hay fever. I don't want that energy of, just feeling lethargic to stay with me, which then puts you into a bad mood, because you haven't got the energy to focus on the things that you want to. So we've done a lovely walk together as a family this afternoon.
That is a perfect segue for how I end all of these, which is we will dance it out with a little bit of music, because that's how I roll. And we're going to have our audience vote on who had the best Zoom box dance moves.
Oh,
We're in this box that we dance in, so the moves have to be in the box, right? But before we do that, I believe you have an offer for our audience, and I am sure they're curious now of how they can get a hold of you if they would like to get to know you better and to take advantage of your services. Can you tell us about that?
yeah, of course. I mean, I would love to share the Giving Gratitude and Love experience with your audience, Tiffany. I've called it a 5-day experience. It's not a challenge, because as mothers, as women, we face challenges in our life, and I'm not going to give you another challenge. This is a 5-day experience. It happens inside my Facebook community. I didn't touch upon the one of the ways how I worked myself out of my sadness and my depression. It was forgiveness to myself from different, not necessarily experiences, but different actions that I'd taken, different choices that I'd made. So my offer to you today is, if you wanted to come into my next 5-day live experience, is called Giving Gratitude and Love, you will be able to receive the forgiveness prayer that I have said. I'm not going to say every day, because I'm a mom and some days things happen, but let's say very, very frequently in my life. It's a beautiful forgiveness prayer. It's part of my daily routine. It's uplifting, it's soothing, and it's one of the tools that I've used to really turn my life around. And I definitely share it with my clients, and obviously the other ways that we work together. It all helps with their journey of self-love and empowerment.
Oh, I love that. And that's key to resilience as well. So I'm so grateful for that. It's been so much fun connecting and having you on. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours about these processes and helping mothers to thrive and the importance of it, especially today. And the leaders that we need and people to step up to be those leaders and to also contribute, and that everyone matters and everybody has something to give. It's just a matter of looking inside and seeing where your journey is taking you and how you got there, and be that person that gives someone else a hand up and helps them get there faster and maybe not as long as it took you to get there. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And I love what you're doing. This is just a fantastic opportunity for women and mothers to come together and to support each other. And, you know, as you said when we met, this is just, you're just getting started. So where this summit is going to take yourself and the speakers in the future and the women and the mums that will be hearing your message, I'm just so excited for you, Tiffany. I'm very proud of you as well. I know we've only just met, but it's a massive achievement. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so very much. And, you know, today I've especially been experiencing a little bit of adversity with it. And I think that comes when you're really on track and you have something powerful that you're meant to do. And so I really appreciate that today.
Not a problem, not a problem. Yeah, at the end of the day, you're stepping into your power. You are, you know, going through with your vision and your mission. And it's about making an impact in the world. So, you know, I wish you all the best with the rest of the summit.
Oh, thank you so much. And we'll definitely be in touch again, and we'll be doing more for sure. And we'll be doing some lives, and I've already asked to do another summit. And so one thing at a time, let's do this one first, and then we'll create more opportunities. I think it's time now that we go ahead and dance it out. Are you ready? You ready?
Oh, go on then.
All right, join me. Show me your moves. Let's go. Audience up too. Everybody move. Test what we said. Move your body.
Oh. I'm not going to stand because I will be too tall. But I love to dance.
All right. I won't torture you with that much.
I love it. Well done.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I just am so thrilled that you were on with us today. Please go find Vanessa. She's shining such a beautiful light. I have one last question for you, though. You lit a candle at the beginning of our session, and I was a little curious about that because you didn't get a chance to explain. Do you want to explain why you light a candle at the beginning of your session?
I always light a candle whenever I am coming. It's all about energy, frequency, and vibration. I'm here hopefully to sparkle radiant energy into this summit. And I'd always light a candle before I come on air, before I work with my clients, just because it's all about love and light. That is my life.
Love it. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience about resilience or their journey as they discover what their resilient superpowers are, or as mothers?
I would just say that as a mother, you know, just know that life is going to throw different challenges at you. But looking after yourself is something that you need to make a priority on a daily basis. Don't tell yourself that there's no time to do this. Many of us have, jobs, businesses, big families, partners, animals to care for. But, you know, if you're not caring for yourself, then actually how can you give to those who you care for? So your self-love journey is important. I didn't tell you about some of the ways you can do that, but simply you can start, well, with the forgiveness prayer is one way, but you can be having a practice of your journaling, your meditation, taking your exercise, looking after your diet. All of that counts as self-care. So please do make that time for yourself. Give yourself that love every day, because it's really important and it really does count.
And I love that. I think if we could all learn to lead from a place of love and realize that we have that creativity in us, as much as and it looks like we need to be done because it's kicking me
Okay,
out. Oh,
no
all right.
problem. Thank you so much, Tiffany. It's been a wonderful experience and it's a wonderful summit. So make sure that, well, I'm sharing the message anyway, so it would be great to see so many women tuning into your message. So all the best with the rest of the summit.
Yes, join us, share what we're doing, be a part of it. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you